Today we will take 5 thrift store finds and turn them into vintage farmhouse spring decor featuring bunnies and seed packets using beautiful greens and creams. We will use all of these products that come in Sonnet's Garden Bloom's March Makers Box, plus one of this month's gorgeous digital press papers. Before we start, take a guess in the comments which project will be your favorite. My name is Cindy. My husband is Chris. Welcome to CNC DIY Factory. In this project, I am using a raised tray that was in my stash. Now, I believe it was originally from the Target dollar spot, but it has never been taken out of the package, and I see a ton of possibilities for this. To prep this piece, I will use the DIY paint in faded burlap from the Maker's Box, and I will apply one coat of paint to the inside of the tray as well as to the front panel and the back panel. DIY paint is so heavily pigmented that I will only need one good coat for complete coverage. While I'm applying the paint, let me tell you a little bit about the playlist that I'm a part of. Every month, a group of us in Sonnet's membership group create videos using the contents of the Maker's Box in our own style of creating to provide a ton of inspiration. I will have that playlist linked in the description box below so you can follow everyone's style and inspiration. Okay, back to the project. On the two sides of the tray, I am using the DIY paint in Gypsy Green that was also in the Maker's Box, and I will apply just one good coat. And then for the four legs of this raised tray, I will also use the Gypsy Green and apply one coat to all of them. Once the paint has dried, I will use my finger sander with the 220 grit sanding paper and lightly sand all of the paint. Now this will leave the piece with a nice smooth surface. Just remember to lightly wipe off the excess paint dust once you have finished sanding. In every Maker's Box, there are two exclusive decoupage papers from Recycled Treasures. This one is called the Garden Merchant Pattern. This is a repeating pattern all across the paper, and I want the same section of pattern on both the front and the back panels of this tray. So I cut out the sections that I want to use, and I am spritzing the first one with water to relax the fibers. This helps reduce wrinkles while decoupaging. Then I will use the DIY liquid patina in crystal clear, and I will lay down an even layer at one end of the paper as a starter. This will help anchor the paper and keep it from shifting as I work across to adhere the rest of the paper. Once the paper is completely dry, I will use my finger sander and sand off the excess paper, leaving a clean, crisp edge. I will follow the same steps to decoupage the second piece on the other side of the tray. DIY paint must be sealed in, and you can use any type of sealer that you want. I am using the DIY clear wax to seal the paint, as well as provide a bit of a barrier for the dark wax that I want to add for a grungy vintage feel. DIY paint dries lighter than what it looks like in the container, but when you add a sealer to it, the color pops right back. To get the vintage look that I mentioned earlier, I am using the Howard's Chalk Teak Wax in dark. I will apply this to all the corners and seams and edges of the tray, inside and out, and then using a lint-free towel, I will wipe back the excess while feathering it into the center of each section of the tray. I will add the clear wax to all four of the legs and then also follow that with the Howard's Chalk Teak wax in dark to keep the same look throughout the piece. Now to put this together, the legs already have the screws in them, so it is as simple as twisting them into the holes in the bottom of the tray. And now we have a beautiful raised tray that can be used to house your gardening tools, seed packets, or clay pots. Let me know what you think of this and how you would use this in your home. I found this little garden caddy at a thrift store, and even though it was coming apart, I knew it had potential. So I pulled the divider out, removed all the nails and the dried glue, and I sanded every inch of this piece so that I had a nice, smooth surface. I am using the Fusion Mineral Paint in Champlain that was in the baker's box, and I will apply 2 coats to the outside and inside of the tray and the outside of the square pots. The Fusion Mineral Paint has a built-in sealer and provides great coverage. Now I applied 2 coats of the Champlain for really full coverage and the added protection with the built-in sealer. Each maker's box comes with 2 DIY paint colors and 2 Fusion Mineral Paint colors, as well as 1 Sweet Pickens Milk Paint, all curated to complement each of the papers in the box. For the insides of these 2 pots, I am using the DIY Gypsy Green paint color. I love the contrast between these 2 colors, the Champlain and the Gypsy Green, and I think it will be perfect for what I have planned. I also used the Gypsy Green on the bottoms of the 2 pots and the tray for a finished look. And as we know, the DIY paint needs to be sealed or it can be reactivated when it gets wet. So I am using the Wise Owl varnish in matte finish to seal this paint. To reattach the divider to the tray, I will use the Stick Fast CA glue in thick formula. I like to use this when I want a quick set glue and it will provide a strong adhesion. In each maker's box, there are 2 exclusive rice papers that are hand-drawn and painted by Connie at the Painted Photographer. Sonnet always requests that one of the papers be a multiple or a 3-up paper to provide more options for creating. This paper is called Bunny in Bloom, and I am using the 2 smaller images to go on the front of these 2 pots. When I am working with rice paper or a heavier weight paper, I like to use the Fusion Decoupage and Transfer Gel. I find that the gel formula provides a better hold for the thicker papers. I will apply an even layer of the gel and then smooth my rice paper down and add more gel over the top to seal it in. And then once the paper is dry, I will use my finger sander and sand off the excess paper around all the edges. I like to use my decor for more than one season, so I flipped through my stash and I pulled out the IOD Fairy Tale Florals transfer set, and I found 2 florals that would look great with these paint colors. I will apply both of these transfers to the back side of these pots, which will allow this piece to be used all the way through to fall. If you have never used a transfer before, they are very easy to apply. Just make sure your surface is completely dry and it's free of any oils or moisture. Then you simply use the plastic tool that is included with every IOD transfer and rub the transfer onto your surface. Now I just need to add some florals, and y'all, is this not the cutest? The florals can be changed out to any style of your choice. I simply set these in here and I think it is perfect for spring. I have noticed a new trend lately using seashells for trinket trays. I found some at an estate sale I went to recently and I wanted to give them a try, but the size was not right. So I went to Amazon and I ordered some that would work. I can leave a link in the description box if you want to try this as well. Sonnet includes a napkin for decoupaging in every maker's box, and I love using napkins for my projects. This is a sweet napkin that says Happy Easter and has a rooster, some eggs, and a bunny in each of the 4 panels. I will start by separating the back layers of the napkin so that I am only working with the very top layer. Then I will gently tear out around the images that I want to use in my seashells. I do not find that I need to use the water method to tear this. The napkin is thin enough it can tear very easily on its own. I tried a couple of images and I think the rooster and the bunny are the ones that I want to use. The egg did not seem like it was going to show up as well, so I will put that aside and use it on another project. I am using the DIY liquid patina crystal clear to decoupage my napkin to the seashell. I like the consistency of the liquid patina for a napkin. It's not too thick and it's not too thin, and I have better luck not tearing my napkin when I use this product for decoupage. Because the seashells have these ridges, I am using my paintbrush to gently push the napkin into all the ridges, starting in the center and working out, being careful not to tear the delicate napkin before I try to smooth it out. Once I have it laid into the ridges, then I will apply more liquid patina over the top to seal it in. I will follow this same technique for this second seashell. The liquid patina has a matte finish, and for these, I want them to be shiny. I want a high gloss. So I am using Bright Tone Clear Gloss Top Coat, and I will apply 2 coats of this, letting each coat dry in between to get that high gloss look that I want. And it will further protect the napkin. Now, I just discovered this product, and if you want to give it a try, I will have a link in the description box below for you. I'm not sure if you have run across this idea of seashells for trinket trays, but I think these would be perfect to have beside the sink in the kitchen or the bath to hold your jewelry, and they can be easily curated for your personal decor. Well, this is truly a trash to treasure project. I have had this sign that I found at a thrift store in my stash for a long time. I was going to use it for something else a while back and changed my mind, so it already has a coat of the DIY little black dress over the image that was originally there. I am going to apply the Fusion Champlain from the Maker's Box over the black, and it will take 2 coats for full coverage. This second coat looks so much better already, you can no longer see the outlines of the words from the original design. This is the second exclusive rice paper from the painted photographer in this month's Maker's Box, and it is called Leah's Heirloom Carrots, and it's perfect for the garden. I am using the wet tear method around the edge of this image to create a frayed look with the fibers in the rice paper. I want this to look worn and weathered, so this technique is perfect. I am using a water pen to create the water line, but a clean paintbrush and water will do the same thing. I am lining the paper up at the top of the board, and I will use the Fusion Decoupage and Transfer Gel to adhere the paper to the board. Once again, I will lay down an even layer of the decoupage gel at the top in order to anchor the paper and keep it from moving as I work. Then I will smooth it out with my paintbrush and add more gel over the top to seal it in. I will work in sections all the way across the paper, smoothing out any possible wrinkles as I go. The second fusion mineral paint color in this month's Maker's Box is called Inglenook. It is a pale green, and I think it will pull out the greens in the carrots from this rice paper. I will use a stencil brush and pounce the paint on to create some highs and lows in the colors, creating some dimension. All of the paints I've used on this piece have a built-in sealer, so I don't need to add another sealer, and you can stop here. But I want to create a worn look to this piece, and my preferred method is with waxes. I will apply the DIY clear wax to the front and the sides of this board, and then I'll follow that up with some Howard's Chalk Teak wax in dark. Now, I like this dark wax because it is more of a brown color, and that is just what I prefer when I am distressing a piece to create a more vintagey, worn look. I am applying the dark wax only around the edges, and then I'm taking a lint-free cloth and I'm feathering the dark wax in towards the center. This keeps me from wasting product, and it gives just a hint of the weathered and worn look towards the center rather than having everything looking dingy. For the bottom half of the board, I will work the wax around the entire area, and then once I'm happy with that, I will add some of the dark wax to the edges as well. Now this is going to deepen the wood and it's going to seal that color in. My vision for this piece was to have it hold plant tags or seed packets. I have had these ceramic wall plant holders from the Dollar Tree in my stash for well over a year, and I have been waiting for the perfect project to pull them out and use them. Now, I wasn't sure if I was going to need one or two, but I think I'll only use one. Now, to add a little something something to this project, I am using one of Sonnet's digital press papers from her heirloom hair collection in this month's Maker's Box. I love these tags, so I went to my laser cutter and I created some small tags to fit the size of the tags in this paper. I printed this on rice paper, so I am using the Fusion Decoupage and Transfer Gel as my decoupage medium. Once I have all of the tags decoupaged and they are dry, I will use my finger sander and sand off the excess paper. Then I will poke a hole through the paper at the top of the tag, and I will try to remove all the excess paper. I'll cut about 7-inch lengths of twine and fold them in half and feed them through the hole in the tag, being sure to secure the twine at the top with a knot. Well, now I think these will work nicely for my heirloom seed wall plaque. I didn't show this in the video, but I attached a hook to the front of the wall plaque to hang the ceramic holder. Well, what do you think about this project? Would this look so good in a garden shed holding plant tags? I think it's adorable. One of my favorite thrift flips are trays, and I found this one during one of my most recent thrifting adventures. To transform this dull gray tray into a beautiful spring tray, I am using the fifth paint in this month's Maker's Box, the Sweet Pickens Milk Paint in Cheshire. I'm not sure if you know this, but milk paint is my favorite kind of paint to work with. When mixing milk paint, it is a 1-to-1 ratio of paint powder to water. I like to mix in warm water. I think it helps the powder to dissolve better, and I like to use a milk frother to get a smooth, creamy consistency. Now, once it's mixed, I'll set it aside for about 10 minutes to thicken up. This tray has some type of slick top coat, so I need to prep my surface so the milk paint will not easily peel off. I am using a method that Connie from the Painted Photographer discovered. It's called the Connie method now. And I am applying 1 coat of the Sweet Pickens Extra Bond to the entire tray. The Extra Bond was actually created to be added into the paint mixture, but Connie discovered that if you apply Extra Bond directly to the piece, let it dry, and then apply the milk paint, you will get the yummiest of crackle effects. The first coat of milk paint is most often streaky and not so pretty, but wait for it to dry and apply a second coat of the milk paint and you will be able to see a huge difference. Now you won't see me apply the second coat here, but you'll just have to wait and see what it looks like in just a few moments. The second exclusive Roycycled Treasures papers in this month's Maker's Box is called the Rabbit Keeper's Ledger, and it is a masterboard. I love Royce's masterboards. They offer a ton of options for creators, and this one is no exception. I want to use the rabbit at the bottom for this tray, so I will use my water pen and draw a water line around the image and then carefully tear it out to leave that naturally worn look around the edges. I will follow the same process along the bottom edge so it is sprayed on all 4 sides. I'm going to decoupage this to the inside of the tray, and I just painted the entire tray with the Cheshire milk paint. Now I don't want to see the green paint showing through my paper, so I will use the Fusion Mineral paint in Champlain and carefully paint the backside of the paper. Before decoupaging, I am giving the tray a quick sanding using a 220 sanding sponge. Now this will knock off any loose pieces of paint and it'll smooth the milk paint to a buttery finish. Milk paint can be finicky. It does not always follow along with what you want it to do. The extra bond was applied to the bottom of the tray as well, but you can see that even that did not keep the milk paint from peeling off in some areas. But I'm okay with that. It will just lend itself to the more vintage feel. Decoupaging can be simple and it can be a bit of a challenge. In order to keep from having too many challenges, I like to line up my paper where I want it in the bottom of the tray, and I lay down an even layer of my decoupage medium as an anchor on one end. Then I smooth the paper with my paintbrush to work out any wrinkles or air bubbles. Now, since I painted the back of this paper, I can no longer relax the fibers with a spritz of water. So I will use a balled up piece of plastic wrap to help me move any air bubbles to the side and smooth out the decoupage paper. Milk paint, just like DIY paint, must be sealed, and you can use any type of sealer you want. My favorite sealer for milk paint is the Sweet Pickens Oil Wax in Dark. This will soak into the paint and the cracks and crazing to create a soft, worn, vintage feel. It's simple to use. You can apply it with a foam brush or a towel. I like to use a stencil brush. I will add the oil wax everywhere the milk paint is exposed and let it sit for about 15 minutes to soak in. Then I will use a lint-free towel to wipe off all the excess. Now, if you think you wiped off all the excess, go over it one more time to make sure. Then you let it set for about 12 hours to cure. The oil wax cures hard as nails, providing great protection for any project. Look at all of that beautiful crackle. The Extra Bond did a great job. Let me know if you have tried the Connie method of applying the Extra Bond before the milk paint and how your project turned out. I am loving this tray and I think it will be a perfect addition for a coffee table or a bedside tray. Now let's take a look at all 5 projects together. Did you guess which project was going to be your favorite in the comments at the beginning of the video? And did you guess right? I gotta know, so please tell me in the comments. I'm not sure I have a favorite, but for me, it might be hard to part with that tray. Thank you for spending a little bit of your time with me today. It truly means a lot because without you, I would not be here. If you want to have your own maker's box delivered to your door every month, I will have a link in the description box below where you can skip the wait list to sign up. And don't forget to check out the link to watch all of the creatives in Sonnet's membership group who create videos every month to provide more inspiration. Go check them out and tell them CNC sent you. If you enjoyed crafting around with me today, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss next month's Maker's Box transformation. It truly helps our channel grow. And until next time, keep practicing random acts of crafting. I'll see you in the next DIY.